Okay, in this particular chapter, we'll create a very simple web application to extract an ID from an image. So the image that we would choose would be a common identification ID that is used in India. It's called basically the Aadhaar card. It could be any identification card. It could be basically your driver's license, your PAN, your social security ID. It could be anything basically. So what we'll do is we'll create a application. So the application will have a front end using which you can just upload that particular image, and the output would just give you the ID for that particular image. So to create this, we'll probably try to create this within 5 minutes. So the backend that we would use would be to extract the ID. We will use the Gemini AI. Now you have two options available. You could either use Gemini or ChatGPT. It's based on your convenience. I've gone with Gemini. If you want, you can even choose ChatGPT. Or you could even use Claude AI. Claude AI also has the ability to upload images and extract data from them. Now, that's the LLM that we're going to use. Again, it's based on your discretion. Again, you have the choice between Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude AI. It's again based on your convenience, but for our sake, we'll use Gemini AI. Maybe later on in some other tutorial, I'll teach you how you can use ChatGPT as well as Claude. The compute that we're going to use would be Cloud Functions. Now, again, this is a GCP product, and we're going to use JavaScript. Now you have the option of using your AWS Lambda or your Azure Functions. Now, if you want to run it on your virtual machines, you can do that as well. But for convenience sake and for a very simple approach, we're going to use your GCP Cloud Function. It's basically a serverless application or a serverless tool on which you can just deploy your code. Now, the code generation tool that we are going to be using is going to be ChatGPT. Now, in a previous chapter, I had told you that Claude AI has the best chat generation tool available. So, but right now what has happened is ChatGPT has released a new tool, and we're going to just and it's in a preview state. So we're going to use that and see how good that is for generating code. Again, the front end is going to be very simple. It's just going to be HTML, JavaScript, and you're going to use the same ChatGPT functionality to generate the HTML and JavaScript. So let's see how we can do that. We'll start off by creating the backend. So let's go back to our GCP console and let's create our backend first. The thing that we'll do is we'll get some Aadhaar ID. It'll probably be a sample Aadhaar that is available. So Aadhaar is basically an ID card that is widely used in India. So let's go to our Google. Now again, this can be any ID. It's just a matter of convenience that I'm using this. So let's get an Aadhaar card sample image, and let's just choose this. So I will just save this as an image. I'll put it in my desktop. Okay, so now that I have got my image, I will go back to my console. This is my Vertex AI console, and here insert media, I'm just going to click on upload, and I'm just going to upload that. So this is that particular Aadhaar card, and here I'm just going to tell the prompt to just extract the ID from this image. Let's click. So here I'm using the Gemini 1.5 Flash. So here you can see the ID is this. So let's just cross verify it. So it's given me the enrollment ID. So it is this ID that it has extracted, whereas we need this particular ID. So let's just modify this particular prompt again. So I'll just say extract the Aadhaar ID from the image. And you've seen that this is the output that we get. So let's just cross verify it once more. Yeah, it's the same 397788000234. So this is the ID that we want. Okay, so now that you've got this, the next thing that we'll do is we'll go to this get code over here, and we'll go to node. So here what I'll do is I just copy this, and I'll use the new ChatGPT. So again, one thing to remember is that this is not compliant to your GCP Cloud Function. This is just a sample code that you can run on your node. The next thing that I'll do here is I will just convert this into a GCP Cloud Function. Now you could do the same. You could say that, okay, you could go to ChatGPT and say, okay, just convert this into your Azure function or your AWS Lambda function. So let's just copy this. And one thing to note is that one thing to note about this code is it's got this particular base 64 of this particular image. So this is a very long text. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this and I'll remove this particular part of it because this is not needed for code generation. So I've done that. I have copy pasted the code into Notepad, and I've just removed this data part of it. I just kept the first few bits and the last few bits. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this into my ChatGPT prompt. So this time I'm going to use a new tool that is available in ChatGPT, and it's called ChatGPT 4o with Canvas. Currently it's in beta state. Now this apparently is pretty useful for creating code. So let's just paste that particular code that we have. And it gives you a detailed explanation about this particular code. However, if I look at this piece of code, I can see that it's using a completely different library. So this is the library that it is using, whereas our sample code has got this library. So I am not sure how good this particular tool is in generating code. So let's just go back to our Claude AI and let's use that instead. So this is just going to be a waste of time. It's currently using a different library altogether, and it's not giving the code that we want. So let's go back to our Claude AI. And in Claude AI, I'm going to paste the same piece of code again. So it is this code that I'm going to paste without the image. So let's copy this. And let's just tell the Claude AI to convert this into GCP Cloud Function. And let's see how well this does. Here, at least we can see that it's using the same library that the sample that we had given it is using. Yeah, this looks like a better piece of code. This looks a more reasonable code. So here basically is how you'll send the data. So here, this particular image data should contain the base 64 of that particular image. This looks more reasonable. So let's just copy this and let's just create a new cloud function that will use this particular piece of code. Let's click on create function. Let's just choose the cloud function, the first bit. Click on save, next. Here, let's just paste that code. So here again, we need to change the entry point. So this is the entry point. Copy this and paste it here. And let's go back to our Claude and see what this is how the package.json should look like. So let's just copy this and paste it there. Let's actually just take the latest. Okay, let's just deploy this. So meanwhile, let's get the base 64 of that image. So the Aadhaar card, so I'm going to use this particular URL, this link I'll send you in the description below. So I'll just click on choose file. I'll use the file that I had previously used, this one. Click on open. And this is the base 64 of that particular image. So I'll just copy this and wait for the function to run. Okay, the function has deployed successfully. Let's go on testing and let's look at our code. So what is it expecting? It's expecting, so this is the name of the key. So I'll copy this, paste it here. And again, this is the base 64. Let's just copy this and let's just paste it here. And let's click on test the function. And let's look at the output. So the output, let's go back to our code once and let's see how the output is defined. So the output consists of the stream response and the aggregate response. So the aggregate response contains all the aggregated response. So this is what we want. You could use this in your code also, but this is the output that we desire. So let's go back to our testing and let's see what the aggregated response looks like. So the aggregated response is basically the Aadhaar number is this. So this is the correct answer. This is what the Aadhaar number is. Let's just cross verify it once. So it's basically 397788000234. So this is fine. So we've created the backend for our application. So I don't want to extend this much longer. So this is how you can create the backend. In the upcoming lecture, we will use this backend and create a front end for this backend. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next.